6 vital middle game principles you must know. When I first started playing chess, I wish someone made a video like this. I'm not even going to waste any time and we're just going to get straight into it. So my first principle you must know is about the minority attack. So first of all, if you're looking at this position, and by the way, I've tried to make all these tips like things you haven't heard before. So they're not going to be like really stupid ones like knights before bishops. So these are going to be like extremely helpful. Well, at least I would have found them extremely helpful and I would have shaved off like 5 months on my chess journey to get to like the rating of 2000. So first of all, I want to say in this position, you're probably thinking about ideas like this. Well, the right idea in this position is to use these 2 pawns to sabotage these 3 pawns. The minority attack is characterized by these 2 pawns, and what they're going to do is they're almost going to go on like a sabotage mission to completely destroy these 3 pawns. Let me show you how it works. So first of all, I want you to, like, you don't even need to know how to play chess. Like, if you don't even play chess, like, you'll probably understand this. So if you've got 3 pawns here, you've got 2 pawns here, what you're going to do is you're going to exchange 2 for the 3. So there's 1 left, and that's going to be a weakness. And then you're just going to attack that weakness. It's like a really nice tip. So first of all, in the game, the move bishop f6 was played. You might be, well, I'll just be going on about minority attacks. Why is this even useful? You're going to see, because after bishop f6, here we see the move b4. Remember when this bishop was on this diagonal? So it's really nice stuff. After knight d7, you keep on using this pawn, b5, knight b6, and now you take. And remember, if we look at this position, there's 2 weaknesses now. And your whole strategy is just going to be revolved around attacking these weaknesses. So your next couple moves are going to be extremely easy. You've only got 1 weakness, but you've turned that into a 2 versus 1 weakness, which is going to really help you. So if we just go back a bit, it's really nice. It was a really nice principle, by the way. If we just go back a bit, the position is completely equal, completely boring. But if we go all the way to bishop c6, bc6, well, there's 2 weaknesses now. And our plan is going to be really easy. We just go rook a c1 and say move like bishop e7. All we're going to do is just double up. And that's how the game went. And white ended up winning it. So my first one is the minority attack. If you've got 2 pawns, use them to create a weakness against 3. It's always characterized by the 2 versus 3. So that's my first tip. Hopefully that is valuable to you. Now, my second tip, I'm actually going to flip the board here. And I'm going to show you another example as well. This is like an easy one. This is like an instant, like that one's like a tiny bit complex, but this is one like you can easily implement in your games. Is you got to understand the correlation between your bishops and your pawns, because your bishop's value is almost determined by your pawns. You can kind of say that with any piece, but with bishops, it's especially true. And it's really easy for you to kind of understand because all you have to look is where these pawns are. So if all these pawns are on light squares, as you see, with this dark squared bishop is going to be good because all these pawns complement this bishop. Imagine if we had a light squared bishop here. Well, it would almost have like nowhere to go because all the pawns block it. It can only go up this diagonal, but with this bishop, it can go all the way up here. It can go here. And if we put it on this diagonal, well, it can go here. So just understand that your bishop is going to be complemented by your pawns. So you really want a strong bishop. And for example, we look at white's bishop. All these pawns are on this square. So in the game, we actually saw him exchange it for that reason. So this bishop is not as strong, even though it maybe can go bishop h6. You know, this bishop is very valuable. So I'm going to show you another example of that really quickly, and then we'll go into the next one. Even if you look at this, here like the move like d5 would be played to get all these pawns on light squares to support this bishop. And that's like really nice stuff. And let me show you like this. Like this is what happens when all your pawns are on the same color as your bishop. This can happen. So that's like tip number 2 is understand that your bishops and your pawns completely work together. They're like a yin yang. That's like some hippie analogy, by the way. Like I'm not into yin yangs or star signs. So my third tip is understand knight outpost. It will really help you with your chess. So here you can try pause the video as white to play and find a really nice move. So if you did pause the video and you found the move is knight b4. The reason for that is, say after a5, kicking the knight away, like some 900 elo move. Even though it actually might be the best move. Here we see the move knight d5, and this is known as an outpost because no pawns of black can kick this knight away. Like imagine if there was some pawns here that could kick it away. Well, it wouldn't be as strong. But because there's no pawns here, this knight is extremely strong. And what even makes this nicer is that this bishop is not on a light square. If this bishop was on a light square, the outpost would still be extremely strong. But because it's on a dark square, it can never even exchange it. So this is extremely strong. This is like a strategic kind of middle game. I like to call these like strategic strong points. So when you're playing and you've got a knight and it says a bishop, try get something like this. Like understanding these things will like really help you with your moves. So that's my third one is knight outpost. Now, if we go into the the fourth one. The fourth one is control the center. I know this is like one of the kind of more basic things, but this is like when I promise you, like I got from 1500 to 1700 just by understanding to control the center. So every single move you play should be controlling the center. If you see white here controls the center more, like think about that. Like, can you actually understand that white is controlling the center more? Like, this is something that, like, when I first started playing chess, it was a bit hard to understand at first, but then I kind of got it. So if we see black's got only, like, one really central pawn, and what's really interesting is that when you control the center more than your opponent, given, like, you've got, like, good minor pieces, you're almost always going to be better. Let me show you, like, an example of, like, how this looks in games. So I'll show you, like, a basic, like, Italian opening. And here we're going to see him move, like, h6, which you'll probably, like, get in your games. Like, if you're watching this video, like, you've probably experienced this before or something like this. And, like a move like a6, now we can strike in the center. This is like us punishing it. Because black wasn't focused on the center, after this, our position is extremely strong. Like, the evaluation is almost, and like it almost says we're up a pawn here. Like it's truly amazing. So, like, that's my fourth tip, is control the center. And now my fifth tip is, you may have heard this before, but you probably don't understand it. Maybe you do understand it, is understand weak color complexes. Weak color complexes, if you can understand them, that's like, as soon as you understand them, that's like an instant 100 elo boost. Like, you've kind of just leveled up your chess. Let me show you how you can understand these, how you can implement them in your own game. So here it's important to identify, like a little like question for you is try find out what squares, what color is really weak in black's position here, and what white can infiltrate. So if you did say the right answer is the dark squares. They're extremely weak. The reason behind that, so you know, is that because black has no dark squared bishop. If black had a dark squared bishop, this position wouldn't be as bad. But because they've got a knight here, and also one thing, like a little like extra tip I didn't even plan on when I was doing this video. By the way, I put like quite a lot of effort into this video, so I really hope it helps you. One thing that's really nice about this position is that, remember how I was talking about bishops and pawns? Well, the pawns, because they only control light squares. It leaves the dark squares weak. So like, you can use that to your advantage in your next game and understand, okay, this color complex is really advantageous for me. So here, so that's color complexes, like, understand that. And I'll show you like a little example of how it unfolds. So black to play f6, but now we see queen h6. And if you get something like this, just know all your moves are probably going to be on the dark squares. Like, you're not going to have to like really play any, like none of your moves are going to go to light squares really. It's really interesting. So here, like the move b4, and now g5, attacking these dark squares. We saw f5, but now bishop f6, queen d7, and we saw like a takes, and I'll get into like the next part, like I'll show the ending of this in the next tip. So that's my fifth tip, by the way, is weak color complexes. And now the next tip I'm going to show you is like really cool. So the next tip I'm going to, sound a bit cringy. The next tip is, this is like an easy tip you can lose. Like, the cool thing about this video is like, you don't even have to play chess. Like, these are so simple. You don't even have to play chess to understand these. My next tip is, there is a simple way to understand if your attack is going to be successful. And that is count the attackers versus defenders. So here we've got 1, 2, like this can be opened up with e5. So I'm going to count it as an attacker. We've got 3, it can infiltrate here. 4, it can come in here. And I'm going to say like 5. And maybe 6, but let's just say 5, and then let's count how many defenders there are. 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 4. So that's a 5 on 4, but we can get these in. So that's like maybe like a 6 on 4. Like, yes, maybe black can get this in and make it like 6v5. But if you're just 1 up, which is actually quite rare in chess, but like you'll get it if your opponent plays bad moves. Like a 5v4, that's a great indicator that your attack's going to be successful. So here we know that we've got more attackers than defenders, so our attack is probably going to be successful. So going back a bit, I already showed you this, but we're going to see it from like a new angle now. So we're going to get more attackers in. There's only like really 3, maybe, and the king's a defender. That can be like a bit sketchy as well. So here we're going to see here we saw the move b4, and it's really interesting. f5, bishop f6, queen d7. I'll show it quite quick. Takes, and now we get another attack into the game. So just because there's more attackers, our attack is going to be successful. This is like a really nice tip you can use. This was a really nice pawn sacrifice, because after bishop g7, you can't take here because of rook g1, which wins the queen. So you have to take here, and white has just won a pawn, and this is completely over. So that's my that's my 6th tip, is understand that your attack will be successful if you have more attackers than defenders. A nice thing about this video is like they're just really easy. And I already said this, like they're really easy things you can implement. So and I'm gonna give you a bonus tip because I'm not gonna say I'm a bonus type of guy. It's a bit cringy. So, but this tip is really nice as well. Is like another like quickly like you don't really have to like use your brain to understand these tips. Is that your attack is also gonna be successful only if you control the center. If I go back a bit back to this. Remember, the attack was successful because we've almost closed up the center here. But if we go back to this, has white closed up the center? Answer that question, no. So here the move G4 was played. This is like way too premature, and because white's trying to attack, and I see like a lot of lower rate. Like I always used to do this. Or try to attack my opponent's king, even though I hadn't really controlled the center or closed it up. When you control the center, and especially when you close it up, that's an indicator that your attack will be successful. But here, white hasn't closed up the center. So move like d5 takes, and that's like horrible. So it's like bishop d3 and takes, and knight d5, and all of a sudden from g4, black has got the initiative because your bishop's under attack, and this is really good for black. It was a game played by Paul Benko, who's like a legend of the game. So anyway, that's my 7 vital middle game principles you must know. I really hope this video was valuable to you. I really enjoyed making this video. Let me know if you want to see more videos like this. If you enjoyed this video, like and subscribe. Let me know what you thought about it in the comments. I'm always reading the comments, and have a nice day.